With this, we're learning the speech that the Lubavitcher Rebbe gave in Parshas Balotcha, 1991, which is 34 years ago, 33 years ago. And the Rebbe is talking about two sentences that appear in the middle of this week's Torah portion. Here it is. Vayehi bin Sohar Aaron. When the ark traveled, Moses said, stand up, God, raise up, God. Let me see, raise up, God. 1 minute. Right, I'll do it with my finger. Raise up, God, and scatter your enemies, and the enemies should run away before you. One sentence. Second sentence, ubenucha, and when the ark settled, when it settled down, Yomar, say, Shuva Hashem, return God, Revavos Alfei Yisrael, the tens of thousands of Jews. There it is. See, there's a little nun in front, nun in the back. If you look in a Sefer Torah, in a Torah scroll, you'll see that this is set apart. Right? These two sentences. I said three sentences before, it's not so. Two sentences that are unique. More in the Talmud. One second. In the Talmud, according to one opinion of the Talmud, those two sentences are a book of the Torah. A book of the Torah. If so, the book of Numbers, there's 5 books of the Torah, right? The book of Numbers is really divided into 3 books. One book is up to these 2 sentences. Another book is the 2 sentences themselves. And another book is after these 2 sentences to the end of the book. So it comes out that instead of being 5 books of the Torah, that there are 7 books of the Torah. That's what it's, according to one opinion. That's not the accepted opinion, but every opinion is valid. If it's in the Talmud, these are people that knew how to raise the dead. The opinion are valid. Okay, so let's see, what does this have to teach us? The Torah is here to teach us how to live with the creator of the universe and how to improve the world according to the creator's specifications. So what does this teach us? Let's go. The Parshat Balotcha, in the Torah portion, which is called Balotcha, there is a chidush, there is a novelty regarding all of the other sections of the Torah, books of the Torah. But it's in this week's Torah portion. Ita b'Gemara, it says in the Gemara, Sheparshat Vayehi bin Sohar, whereas in the Gemara it says in Shabbat, the Talmud Shabbat. So it says over there, Ita b'Gemara, Sheparshat Vayehi bin Soharon. These 2 sentences I just read to you, Sefer Chashuv Hu B'Fnei Asmo, is considered to be a book of the Torah in itself. So the whole book of Numbers, until these 2 sentences, is a book. These 2 sentences are another book. And from these 2 sentences to the end of the book of the Numbers is another book. According to this, so it comes out, like it's explained in the Gemara, like it says, Chatzva Amrei Shiva, from a sentence from the Psalm, the Song of Songs. It says its pillars were 7, carved out 7. Sheyeshnum Shiva Sifrei Torah. Instead of being the 5 books of Moses, it's the 7 books of Moses. Not that there's some hidden book that nobody saw. No, they weren't divided properly. Moses came down with 7 books. What's the 7 books of the Torah? And Moses only came down with 2 tablets. But the Torah, how it's divided up, it should be divided up into 7 books, not 5. Kevin, since the Parsha Zu, this thing by Ibn Sora, is 1 full book in itself. So it comes out that before Shalamayla Sefer La'atzmo, Shalamata Sefer La'atzmo. So it comes out that from the beginning of the book of Numbers to these 2 sentences is 1 book. From these 2 sentences to the end is another book, and the 2 sentences themselves is the 3rd book. So it comes out that Vayedaber, the Midbar, the book of Numbers, is divided into 3 books. So if so, automatically there are 7 books of the Torah. 4 books of the Torah that we know very well: Breshit, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, and what do they call it? The Deuteronomy. And there's also, that's 4. And the book of Bamidbar, the book of Numbers, is divided into 3. According to this, the whole novelty of this week's Torah portion is this is where it happens. This Torah portion has really in it 3 books. The end of the first book of Numbers, the beginning of the last book of Numbers, and one whole book itself, two sentences in the middle. Okay, so that, but what's the point? Why do it like that? But that's, let's see. Yeah. Okay. If so, Davar Tamua. This is very, how do you say, surprising. Alpia Chalukas Shivas, according to this, there's 7 books of the Torah. So it comes out that the 6th book of the Torah, which that's this, the 6th book of the Torah, that's a Sefer Shlishi, namely the 3rd book of Numbers. The Achre after Vayehi Yisrael, this begins with Vayehi Am Mitonanim. Here, let's see. Can we see it over here? Let's see if we can get to this here. 1 minute. It focuses. See, it takes a little bit of time to focus. Yeah. Let's see if I can get to see the 2 nuns over here. See the 2 nuns? So it ends up that this, and what's before this, is the 4th book of the Torah. That's the 4th book of the Torah. That's Numbers. And this, 2 sentences of the 5th book of the Torah. And afterwards is the 6th book of the Torah. That's this 6th book of the Torah from here to the end of the book of Numbers. And Deuteronomy is the 7th book of the Torah. Okay, so, but according to that, this 6th book of the Torah that we said, it starts off with something bad. Here it says, do this. Vayehi ha'am kamit onanim. Can you see it? Vayehi ha'am kamit onanim. The people were complaining, saying bad things in the ears of God. Okay, so it comes out, usually the Torah starts off with something good. We try to make it that every section of the Torah starts off with something good and it ends with something good. And when it doesn't, then we ask a question. Why doesn't it end with something good? Now here we have 5 books of the Torah. Everyone got along really well with 5 books of the Torah. Every Torah book started off with something good and ended with something good. All of a sudden comes the Talmud in Shabbat and says, yes, but some people say you can divide it up into 7 books. And these 2 sentences, that makes up a book in itself. Right? These 2 sentences, that's like the 5th book of the Torah. That's the 5th. And after it, to the end of Numbers is the 6th book, and Deuteronomy is the 7th. He says, according to that, so it ends up that the 6th book of the Torah, which is the sentences immediately after these 2 sentences, the 6th book of the Torah, now a new thing, 6th book, this begins with Vayehi Am Mitananim. It begins with a bad sentence. That the Jewish people were complaining to God about the situation. It says over there they were complaining about nothing. They just like to complain. This is a thing which is not good, and it brought bad results. It says that God made a big fire in the people, and afterwards it continued about the sin of Miriam. That's the end of this week's Torah portion. Miriam spoke badly about Moses. She didn't really speak badly about him at all, but you could sense a little bit of a disparaging remark, she said, about Moses. And after that, it says the sin of, that's the next week's Torah portion, it talks about the sin of the spies. So it ends up that if you divide the Torah up into 7 books, then this book of Numbers begins the 4th book. Numbers is the 4th book, but all of a sudden these 2 sentences, that's the 5th book. And what comes after these 2 sentences is the 6th book, and it's only bad things. The people are complaining. Miriam gets punished because she spoke not properly. After that is the sin of the Meraglim, the spies. After that is the sin of Korach, the terrible things. So it ends up that's one book of the Torah that's only bad things. That's not right. Why divide it up? What does this come to tell us? It says that novelty on this we can see that the Kol HaSforim, that all the books of the Torah, they have a name. And the name usually comes from the first words of that Torah portion. The Torah begins with Bereshit. Bereshit. English, they call it Genesis, but the Bereshit is the first. The second one is, second book of Exodus is called Shemot, names, because it begins with those words, Elu Shemot. Right? The third book of the Torah is called Bamidbar, because it says these are the words that God spoke. Bamidbar, spoke to Moses Bamidbar in the desert. Now you're going to have the 6th book of the Torah. Here we go. Bereshit begins with Bereshit. Shemot, names, that's the book of Exodus. That's the first letters in the first words. Vayikra, wait a second. Vayikra, I'm sorry, I skipped one. Vayikra, the guy called Vayikra, that's the first word in the book of Vayikra. They call it Leviticus, but God called Vayikra, it's called in Hebrew. Bamidbar, that's the beginning. Dvorim, that's the 5th book, up to now has been the 5th book. That's the second word. Okay, also the second book of Bamidbar. Now we're saying we're dividing this book of Bamidbar into 3. So the second book is called Vayehi ben Soah. It's called When the Ark Traveled. Good things, all of them are good. But it comes out that if you start dividing this book, the book of Numbers, into 3, so it's going to end up that the third portion, which we're now going to say that's the 6th book of the Torah, starts out with a bad thing. It would be called Vayim Midonanim. The people were complaining, a bad name. And even more, the first words in this book talks about a thing that's not bad, a thing that's not good, a thing that's bad. All the Jewish people were complaining. The book of complaining. Teva, even every word on its own indicates something bad, right? Vayehi. Now we're talking about the words right after these 2 sentences that make a new. Vayehi is a bad thing. It says anytime it says in the Torah Vayehi, it means something bad. Vayehi b'yamei Hashverosh. Vayehi b'shu. It says when there was something bad, it starts off with the word Vayehi, and it was. Ha'am, right? How does this start off here? Let's go back here. There's see right after. Here we're talking about right here. I have to go backwards here. See, Vayehi, let's get it in. Can you see, is it clear? I will just hold it clear. Vayehi ha'am kamitonanim. That's what these 3 words say. And it was that the people were complaining. Vayehi means something bad. It's going to happen. Ha'am, the people, anytime they uses the word am, means the evil people. Kamit onanim, that's why this is the Erev Rav was referred. Am hazeh, am means doing sin, the sinners. Kamit onanim, this means that they were complaining. They were complaining about God. Ra baznei Hashem, they were saying bad things in the ears, in the hearing of God. God. And to comment that this was the opposite of what the Torah says. It says the Torah says that a person has to bless on everything that happens, even not good things that happen. Everything that God does is good or for the good or will be revealed to be good. But in any case, what are you complaining about? God gives you everything, right? God gives you everything. And you're complaining about one little thing that's not there. What are you complaining about? This is okay, that's human nature, good, but don't write about it in the Torah. And if you do write about it in the Torah, then at least hide it somewhere. Put it in the back. Here we're starting a whole, according to this, if you divide the book of Numbers into three books. So the last of those three books begins with this terrible thing that the Jewish people were complaining to God, and it was bad. They were doing the opposite of what a human being is supposed to do. How much opposite of what a Jew is supposed to do? Complaining. Look for the good in everything. Improve every situation. What are you complaining about? Why am I complaining? Because that's what it says in the Bible. That's what they did. There's a whole Torah portion that begins with the Jews complaining. He says that's not good. That's not the way of the Torah. Also, we got another question. Bichlal in general, Torah, usually the Torah is divided into 5 books of Moses. 5 books. What is this idea that all of a sudden you have to divide it into 7? What was wrong with 5? Why does the Talmud say that this book, these 2 sentences are a book in itself? Number 3, since the division of the book of Numbers, we're now dividing it into 3. And as a result for this, it comes out that there's now 7 books of the Torah. So why is the division in the book of Balotcha? In this thing of lighting of the, we have to say that there's some big positive message involved in this whole business. Why? If you went to the effort or whatever of bringing up all, excuse me, sorry, 1 minute. If you go to the effort of, dividing the Torah up, and it comes out that one of the books begins with negative words, but you're willing to do this. You're dividing it up into 7 books. Why? Why the problems? Why do it in Balotcha? What is it coming to teach us? It must be coming to teach us something very important. The Pashtus, why is it? Okay, let's look at why is it in Balotcha? This chapter that talks about, lighting up the menorah in the Holy Temple. Simply, we can say that the connection is like this: that the menorah is connected with Torah. Menorah. And just like Balotcha Nerot, just like when Aaron lit up the menorah in the tabernacle, there were 7 arms, 7 lamps on the menorah. Also the Torah. The Torah should be divided into 7. 7 books of the Torah, corresponding to the 7 Nerot. Okay, good. What is the connection between the 2 of them? How is it fitting that the 5 books of the Torah, which everybody, so we'll start off with 7. Why even start off with 5? There's 5 books of the Torah, but also the 7 books of the Torah corresponding to the 7 stems or the lamps on the menorah. Okay, why? We'll see. Yuvan will understand what is the teaching from Balotcha Nerot. What is it teaching us that Aaron lit up the Nerot? What's it teaching us? It's known that everything that's in the Torah, and the word Torah itself means horah, teaching. Everything that's written in the Torah is a teaching to a Jew in serving God. Now, it's true that the Torah was given for the whole world, but the Torah was given to the Jews. And 99% of the commandments in the Torah are only for Jews. Only Jews are supposed to keep Shabbat. Only Jews are forbidden to eat milk and meat or forbidden to eat creeping things. There are laws which are relevant to the non-Jews. That's called the 7 Noahide commandments. But the Jews have 613 commandments from the Torah, and then there's thousands of commandments from the rabbis that they all have, and they're not relevant to the non-Jews. They're only for the Jews. God took the Jews out of Egypt and gave them the Torah, separated them from everybody else. The Jews are separated. Ubefrat, and especially things which are connected to serving in the Mishkan, in the tabernacle. The things which were in the tabernacle, this really is only for the Jews. this, every detail of the service in the Mishkan somehow or other reflects some sort of service we have to, like it says, "V'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham," make me a holy temple, and I will dwell within them, within each and every Jew. So the tabernacle was inside of each one of us, and that's showing us how to serve God, and that's the purpose why we're here in the world, to serve God, and especially serving God by lighting the menorah. In the menorah, there you could really see a connection between God and the Jews and the world. The Jews lit light. They made light. Making light, it's also warm. This expresses the main essence of what is a service of a Jew in the world, to make light. We're going to see why 7, etc. We're going to see. Even though that in the Torah portion called that we're in now, Balotcha, lighting up the menorah, just like in everything in the Torah, there are many different meanings. It says that there's 600,000 explanations of the Torah. 10,000, so 600,000 explanations of every sentence in the Torah. We're talking about valid explanations, not explanations that people make up on their own. Al derech, like on the pshat, there's also thousands. It says 600,000 in simple meanings, in hints, in drushim and sod, in the secrets of the Torah. So first of all, the main thing in the Torah, though, is the simple meaning. According to simplicity, simple meaning. Ein mikri yudei midei pshuto. The Torah never leaves its simple meaning. And this is relevant to every single Jew, man, woman, and child. What is the explanation? La'ir, zeu inyan shel pirush Rashi. That's what Rashi, Rebbe Shlomo Yitzchaki, it's written in every chumash that they have a explanations, that there's commentary. Rashi is the main commentary. Rashi, Rebbe Shlomo Yitzchaki. He said, I only came to explain the simple meaning, which is when it comes to explain questions which would be asked by a 5-year-old child. And Mizeh moving, so now it's understood that the Torah, which means teaching, to lift up these lights for every single Jew, it has to be, first of all, the simple meaning, what Rashi says, is understood to every single Jew. And then will be understood also the other teachings which come for this to every single Jew. But let's understand the simple meaning of lighting up the lights. This will be relevant. First of all, let's understand the simple meaning, and then we can start applying a little bit deeper meanings and etc. to the higher levels of them. It says, Balotcha, what does Rashi say? Rashi says like this. Balotcha says, Al Shem, why this strange language? Balotcha means to light up the lamps on the menorah, to light them up. But it doesn't use the word lighting up. It says to elevate, Balotcha, raising up. You have to raise up the flames. Why? What do you mean raise up the flames? Light the flames. Why raise up? It says Rashi says, who made this word? God. God is the one that wrote the Torah, and God said that we don't call it lighting the lights. We call it raising up the lights. Why? Ba'alotcha. When you write, God spoke to Aaron. When you raise up the lights, raise up. This is because the flame goes up. Because flame goes up, so therefore it is written here, uses the language of elevating. Lighting up the candles means elevating. I mean, you could say, Balot Chatanerod, maybe light them and then lift up the menorah, lift it up. No. It says, all you have to lift up is just the flames. They go up. And the flames go up on their own, but you have to start it. You start it. And that's why here God uses the language of lifting up the flame. Lifting up. In Tzorech Lahadlik, you have to light the flame until the Shelahevet Olam Me'aleha. You just have to make sure that the wick is lit sufficiently, that it remains lit when you remove the match or whatever you lit it with. It's called balot chanadus. You have to make sure that it goes up on its own. Okay, what is this coming to teach us? What is this coming to teach us? Balot chatanerot, in general, this expresses the service of a Jew to God. Right? Now, a person going to ask, what does God need? I mean, I'm serving him. God needs a cup of coffee. What does God need? That I should serve him. And so the answer is, well, beside God creating you, God has desires. That's the Torah. And God says, I want you to fix up the world. That's the whole story of the Bible. God put man in the world to fix up the world. God said, I want you to fix up the world. That means serving God. So to speak, God is saying, I can't do it on my own. You have to fix it. One of the reasons God cannot do it on his own is because we are part of the world and God can't fix us up. He can't take away our free will. God wants us to have free will, and that we should fix up. If God takes away our free will, then it's not a world. That's what he already has by the angels. The angels have no free will. So it says that God wants us to be here. He wants us to have free will, and he wants us to use our free will to serve him. And there's all sorts of obstacles and difficulties and confusion and frustrations and failures, etc. But we have to serve God. That's the idea. We have to fix up the world so that there shouldn't be any disappointments and frustrations and obstacles and etc. Avodah, the service, is lighting the lights. The light in this case is the soul of man. And the light of the ner mitzvah of Torah or, and the light of the lamp, the commandments are lamps and the Torah is the light. That's the lamps and the light we have to use. Torah and the commandments. That's what lights up the world. Who would dream a thing like that? But that's the fact. All you said by means of this, ta'ir ba'ora, you can shine up the light. Ta'ir at kol you can illuminate the whole existence of the world. First of all, beginning with yourself, your body, your part in the world, all of your actions, deeds will be for the sake of God. And everything you do, you will know him, you will be connected. It will shine also to the people around you. You'll be a positive influence until the whole entire world will be illuminated. From it, light goes out to the world. That's ner mitzvah v'torah or. Like it says, or, light. Shemakasher mitzvah, the word mitzvah in Hebrew means a commandment, but the word mitzvah also means to connect. Tzavta v'chibor, that you will connect the whole world, physical world, to the creator of the physical world. You'll see why God is creating everything. Until the world will become, as we use it so many times in Chabad, dira lo, a dwelling for God in the world. Menorah me'ira, that the world will become like a candelabra. It will illuminate the whole entire, we shine with godliness. Every moment will be interesting. Every detail will be beautiful. In ba'ofen bo tzarich levatzeh avodah zu, how can a person do this and make the world reveal, shine godliness? That's what Rashi says. Tzarich ladlik ad shetehei shelevas olam yaleh. You have to light it until the flame goes up on its own. Even though that lighting the candles comes by means of a Jew that lights the candles, but the whole purpose of it is that it should be that afterwards the world shines itself. Right? A person goes to a doctor and he wants to get healthy. The job of the doctor is not just to heal him and then to keep healing him and healing him, come every day and I'll heal you again, give you another shot. The job of a doctor is that a person gets healthy and he never needs a doctor anymore. And that's what the world is supposed to be. God wants us to heal the world so we feel that the world is an amazing, miraculous, happy, positive creation. And then afterwards, we don't have to work on it anymore. It's an automatic thing. It just inspires us. Every moment it inspires us. Even though that God gave powers to a Jew to do his service, and God helps us, and he gives us the commandments, and he gives us the Torah, and in addition to that, he also gives us inspiration, and he sent the soul down into the world. Similarly, a Jew receives powers mi Aaron HaKohen. Aaron reminds us, he's the shepherd of the Jewish people, and he lights these lamps of the Jews below. What does it mean? That we have the Rebbe, and the Rebbe inspires us. That's what we're reading here. He's inspiring us to do these unusual things that we would never want to do. And as soon as we start to do it, we realize, why didn't I think of this before? God exists, and the only reason I'm being created, and I am being created, is to just do good. You get power from Aaron. You get power also from your parents, from your teachers, from people that are around you. And God sends messages through all sorts of ways. Not when God sends messages, it's not just that a letter comes from heaven. Sometimes somebody says something to you. All of a sudden you see something, you read something in a book. People help one another. The Afal Pikein, nevertheless, the completion of the service of God is like this, that it says, you shall have us olam. The goal of the whole thing is that the world should illuminate on its own. Hainu shaner v'Torah der mitzvah, that the Torah and the commandments that you do should permeate you to the degree that it shines in you automatically, like a soul enlivens your body effortlessly, and unconditionally. You don't have to do anything to be alive. You're just alive. So it should be also with the Torah and the commandments. You should feel that it's not your soul, it's God's soul. Your body is God's body. The world is God's world. And it should be inspiring all the time, as we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow. And now let's do the Yom Yom.